Senator Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that further proceedings on the roll call be dispensed with and the Sergeant at Arms be instructed to bring in the absent members.
To that motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the motion doesn't prevail. The Secretary will close the roll. Pursuant to Rule 12.5, Senator Pratt moves that the following members be excused for a conference committee on Senate File 4091 at 1 p.m. Senators Pratt, Rarick, Dames, Senjum, and Friends. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Those opposed, the motion does prevail. Senator Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. Pursuant to Rule 26, I designate the following bills made special orders for immediate consideration. Members, the list is on your desk.
The first bill on special orders today is Senate File 3107, number 15 on general orders. Senator Duckworth.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate File 3107 has to do with increasing the amount of compensation a school board member can receive if they're also employed by a school district. And I'll give you some examples as to what that might look like. But it increases the cap from $8,000 to $20,000. And here's why this has been brought to us as it stands right now with a sense of urgency. It's because many of our schools all across the state are dealing with staffing shortages. Not just teachers, but bus drivers, folks that serve lunch or breakfast to students, folks that come in and do work as a substitute teacher in classrooms. If you've been talking to your schools, your superintendents, your school board members, it's been made readily apparent to you that there is a huge shortage when it comes to staffing to help keep our kids in the classroom and make sure they're getting the education they deserve. And like good school board members, many of them are deciding to step up and try to fill some of those shortages, either by driving buses, like a certain state legislator does, or by serving lunches in school, or by being that substitute teacher. But the issue is, once they get to a certain amount in compensation in a given year, that being $8,000, well, then they can no longer continue to pitch in and help in those roles at the schools. So if we increase that cap amount by a moderate amount of money, that will allow them to continue to still help alleviate some of those staffing shortages within their school districts all across the state as we continue to find ways to keep our schools open and keep kids in the classroom. That's the purpose behind this bill. It's just a moderate sum, and it's also meant to ensure that school board members aren't necessarily at a point where they're relying on this as their sole income, so that we avoid any conflicts of interest that could arise from that sort of a scenario. Thank you, Mr. President.
Discussion to Senate File 3107. Senator Uyghur.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise in support of Senator Duckworth's proposal. Not only is there a challenge in trying to get and retain the employees in the school district, but also for getting school board members. There's been an unprecedented number of board members that have resigned, that have not sought re-election just due to increased pressures, et cetera. So this creates an additional way to help retain, perhaps attract additional school board candidates, and so I would offer strong support. Also would add that the school board still has to approve if you're going to be, after you are elected, or as to whether that employment arrangement is going to be okay. So increasing from 8,000 to 20,000 I think is very reasonable and timely, and urge you to vote for it.
Further discussion to the bill? Seeing none, the Secretary will give the bill its third reading.
Senate File Number 3107, a bill for an act relating to education.
Third reading. Any further discussion? Seeing none, the Secretary will take the roll on final passage of Senate File 3107. Call on Senator Jasinski to report members voting under Rule 40.7. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Anderson votes aye.
Anderson votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Johnson votes aye.
Johnson votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Lang votes aye.
Lang votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Rude votes aye.
Rude votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Thomasoni votes aye.
Thomasoni votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Chamberlain votes aye.
Chamberlain votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Rarick votes aye.
Rarick votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Senjum votes aye.
Senjum votes aye. Call on Senator Herr to report members voting under Rule 40.7. Senator Herr.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to report aye for Senator Eaton.
Eaton votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Eakin.
Eakin votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Newton.
Newton votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Torres Ray.
Torres Ray votes aye. Senator Herr. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. President.
All members having voted with the desire to vote, the Secretary will close the roll. There being 63 ayes and no nays, Senate File 3107 does pass in its title agreed to. Second bill on special orders today is Senate File 2011, number 80 on general orders. Senator Duckworth.
Thank you, Mr. President. To Senate File 2011. This bill is before us because I'll give some context regarding this. Having been a school board member in the past, I understand that sometimes our school districts are met with unique challenges, and not every school district has to deal with the same issues that other districts find themselves dealing with. All of our communities are in different phases. Some are growing and bursting at the seams, like the Lakeville School District and others, and then others are in a point in time where they're maybe more mature neighborhoods and they're entering different phases of development, and their demographics are changing in terms of the number of young people and growing families within their school districts, et cetera. And oftentimes, those situations present challenges. In a growing district, you're trying to find ways to maybe bring more buildings into the district to service the families and the kids that you have. And in districts that are shrinking, sometimes you then have to figure out what you're going to do with some of those buildings that you might not need anymore. That can present a whole host of challenges as you're trying to do what's right, not only for the kids, but also for the community and the taxpayers that you represent. This bill represents a school district that's asking us as a legislature to allow them the authority to do a fund transfer when they sell a building that is no longer being utilized to provide the kids in their district the educational needs they are required to provide. Long and short of it is this. The Burnsville School District, if they sell their middle school, once they receive the proceeds from that sale, they have to satisfy and pay down any debt related to that building, which is a good thing for the taxpayers. Then any additional funds that are left over from the sale of that building will go toward programmatic items such as literacy or other things that their kids need. And in a time in which all school districts across the state are rushing to meet the needs of our students, especially little students that are trying to recover from a couple of years of uncertainty and unpredictability, affording this school board and this school district the ability to do that and best address the needs of the students with the input of their parents is wise, in my opinion. So that's why this bill is before us, Mr. President. That's what it would do, and I appreciate your consideration.
Discussion to Senate File 3011, Senator Port. Sorry, 2011, Senator Kaport.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you to Senator Duckworth for carrying this bill so we could move it forward. This is, a request from the Burnsville School District so that they can put these funds from the sale of this building, exactly like Senator Duckworth said, into programs that will help students. They don't need these funds in their operating budget at this time. They need them to be able to support students, to fill the gaps, to make sure that they are able to invest in literacy, invest in mental health, and invest in the staffing that can make sure that our students are receiving the educations that they need. I support this bill. Hope you'll vote green.
Further discussion to the bill? Senator Uyghur.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I rise in strong support of this bipartisan initiative. The local control flexibility is very important, especially now with the challenges facing school districts. I was inspired by a comment made in Finance Committee by Senator Ingebretson. And yes, Senator Ingebretson, in reviewing the bill, as he does, he raised the question, why can't all districts do this? And there really wasn't a good answer. I believe Senator Marty said, well, because. And, well, we have a chance to make this a statewide reform so that not only one district, but let all districts have this flexibility should the need arise. So, Senator Ingebretson, you inspired what I'd like to offer as the A2 amendment.
Senator Uyghur moves the A2 amendment. The Secretary will report the amendment.
Senator Uyghur moves to amend Senate File 2011 as follows, page 1 after line 4 insert. This is the A2 amendment.
To the A2 amendment, Senator Uyghur.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, this would take a great idea for the proposed fund transfer in the Burnsville area and make it statewide for any other district that would like to have such flexibility. Thank you.
Discussion to the A2 amendment. Senator Duckworth.
Thank you, Mr. President. And Senator Uyghur, appreciate you offering the amendment. And in theory, more than happy to continue that discussion and look at if that's something that we can do in the future if it makes that sense, kind of sense. However, that being said, in consultation and meeting with the Burnsville School District regarding this matter in particular, I'd prefer to keep this bill clean, move it forward, and not throw anything on there that could potentially cause some hangups down the road as we try to get this bill passed. Thank you.
Senator Hoffman. Passes. Further discussion. Senator Uyghur.
Thank you, Mr. President and Senator Duckworth. I will point out that the provision for the bill before us is already in the conference committee, and the Senate only needs to just put it in its offer or counter offer that we agree. I'm just trying to take this a step further for the entire state. So that said, I'm very aware of the fact that Burnsville needs this. I in no way want to see a very probable yes vote here on the original bill go down. And so something I hardly ever do, I will respectfully withdraw the amendment with the understanding that it for sure be worked on next year, but potentially even remedied in conference where if you have a discussion on it, perhaps some foundation has been laid. So I withdraw the A2 amendment.
Senator Uyghur withdraws the A2 amendment. Further discussion. The Secretary will give the bill its third reading.
Senate File number 2011, a bill for an act relating to education finance.
Third reading. Further discussion. Senator Duckworth.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to take a moment and thank Senator Uyghur for the manner in which he handled that, putting that aside so we can continue to advance this bill. He's been a good colleague on the Senate Education Committee, and I appreciate his willingness to work together. Thank you.
Seeing no further discussion, the Secretary will take the roll on final passage of Senate File 2011. Call on Senator Jasinski to report members voting under Rule 40.7. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Anderson votes aye.
Anderson votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Johnson votes aye.
Johnson votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Lang votes aye.
Lang votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Rude votes aye.
Rude votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Thomasoni votes aye.
Thomasoni votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Chamberlain votes aye.
Chamberlain votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Rarick votes aye.
Rarick votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
And thank you, Mr. President. Senator Senjum votes aye.
Senjum votes aye. Call on Senator Hur to report members voting under Rule 40.7. Senator Hur.
Mr. President, I'd like to report aye for Senator Eaton.
Eaton votes aye. Senator Hur.
Aye for Senator Eakin.
Eakin votes aye. Senator Hur.
Aye for Senator Newton.
Newton votes aye. Senator Hur.
Aye for Senator Torres Ray.
Senator Torres Ray votes aye. Senator Hur.
Aye for Senator Lopez Franson.
Lopez Franzen votes aye. Senator Hur.
And aye for Senator Friends.
Friends votes aye.
Thank you.
All members having voted with the desire to vote, the Secretary will close the roll. There being 66 ayes and no nays, Senate File 2011 does pass in its title agreed to. Next bill on special orders, House File 3285, number 40 on general orders, Senator Bach.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a pretty simple little bill. Under current law, when a county wants to dispose of tax forfeited land, and we have a lot of that in northern Minnesota, St. Louis County, for example, has about 900,000 acres of it. If they make a decision to dispose of some tax forfeited land, they can do that with an advertiser in the newspaper and on their website, and they can do it in online sales. But when the county wants to dispose of county fee land, land that it actually owns, that's not permissible. They have to actually advertise it and then actually hold an in-person public auction. And the counties came to Senator Thomasoni and I and wanted to have the same opportunity to do online auction sales for the fee land that they own, just like they do with the county tax forfeited land. So there's an example in my district here last fall. The county was working with a local ATV club, developing a corridor for an ATV trail across a bunch of county tax forfeited land. And there was a 40-acre parcel in the place where the alignment really needed to go. And the landowner didn't want to do a easement for a new trail through the property. He just wanted to sell the entire 40 acres. So there's a case where the county actually made the purchase, they bought the land. There's no public interest in them holding that land. So they'd like to put the trail in and then be able to have the option to be able to sell the surplus property. This would make it a lot easier for them to be able to do it online like they do county tax forfeited land, being able to do it electronically. Senator Thomasoni would tell you that this is a good bill. Vote for it.
Discussion to House File 3285. Seeing none, the Secretary will give the bill its third reading.
House File Number 3285, a bill for an act relating to local government authorizing online process for county land sales.
Third reading. Any further discussion? Senator Ingebretson.
Thank you, Mr. President and members. This is a good bill. Please vote green.
Senator Marty.
Mr. President, thank you. Just a question for Senator Bach on this. Has there been any concern raised about outside investors having a lot easier time buying up land this way when it's all online that way? I just was curious if that was ever discussed.
Senator Bach will yield. Senator Bach.
No, it hasn't, Senator Marty, and these are actually very infrequent sales where the county maybe needs to change a right-of-way on a road and they have to buy some parcels and then want to be able to sell what they don't actually use. These sales don't happen very often.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, the Secretary will give the bill, will take the roll on House File 3285. Call on Senator Herr to report members voting under Rule 40.7. Senator Herr.
Mr. President, I report aye for Senator Eaton.
Eaton votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Eakin.
Eakin votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Friends.
Friends votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Newton.
Newton votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Torres Ray.
Torres Ray votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Lopez Franson.
Lopez Franson votes aye.
Thank you.
Call on Senator Jasinski to report members voting under Rule 40.7. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Anderson votes aye.
Anderson votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Johnson votes aye.
Johnson votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Lang votes aye.
Lang votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Thomasoni votes aye.
Thomasoni votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Chamberlain votes aye.
Chamberlain votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Pratt votes aye.
Pratt votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Rarick votes aye.
Rarick votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Senjum votes aye.
Senjum votes aye. All members having voted with the desire to vote, the Secretary will close the roll. There being 65 ayes and no nays. House File 3285 does pass and is title agreed to. Moving on to the next bill on special orders, House File 961, number 45 on general orders. Senator Howe.
Thank you, Mr. President. House File 961 actually does, all it does is simply adds Law Enforcement Supervisors Unit to the list of 17 current supervisor groups represented in bargaining units under Chapter 179A. Currently, this would encompass law enforcement supervisors from state troopers, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, alcohol gambling, and the Department of Commerce supervisors, about 120 members. This would allow them to actually form a law enforcement supervisors unit. It wouldn't just create it, they'd still have to vote to create that unit. If they choose those other bargaining units to decide to stay in their current bargaining units, they could do so, but this would allow them actually to have common interest in one unit with related common interests. So that's the bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Discussion to House File 961. Senator Dietzick.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Howe. This is a good bill. I'll say that up front. I talked to Senator Howe about an amendment. I had a few amendments drafted, actually. They were germane to the bill because they dealt with, this bill deals with supervisory units in law enforcement. And the amendments that I had were dealing with supervisory units, specifically to the city of Minneapolis and their police department. Unfortunately, I won't be offering it today because even though I've had multiple conversations with current and former Minneapolis police officers, current and former members of other agencies throughout the state, chief of police from other agencies around the state, and the MPPOA, the union, and the city, specifically the union and the city, I can't get an agreement, which is very frustrating. So I am standing here and rising today because we've all read about some issues that Minneapolis has, specifically relating to law enforcement. And I want to stand to tell my city, the city of Minneapolis, the city that I love, that I've grown up in, we have to change. Something has to change. We have heard about the problems in the city with the police department. I'm not blaming anywhere. I'm just saying the status quo no longer works and we need to change. And I'm putting it out there because I want them to work together and figure out a solution because everybody in Minneapolis needs to feel safe. Minneapolis needs to be vibrant. The state needs Minneapolis to be vibrant. And again, I'm standing to put it out there to please beg them, come together, find solutions so that we have a safe Minneapolis because the status quo no longer works. So thank you, Senator Howe, for letting me discuss with you my amendment. And I'm going to keep working on this. Just letting everybody know, I'm going to keep working on this because, again, we need change. We need people in Minneapolis to feel safe.
Seeing no further discussion, the Secretary will give the bill its third reading.
House File Number 961, a bill for an act relating to labor adding a supervisory law enforcement unit.
Third reading. Any further discussion? Senator Howe.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senator Dzik. We had a good discussion, and it's not that I don't agree with you. I think I do agree with you that things need to change, but the MPPOA and others don't agree, and so I appreciate that you're going to keep working on that because Minneapolis does, we need to feel safe in Minneapolis, and that just isn't happening. So thank you, Mr. President and members. Please support the bill.
Secretary will take the roll on final passage of House File 961. Calling Senator Jasinski to report members voting under Rule 40.7. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Anderson votes aye.
Anderson votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Johnson votes aye.
Johnson votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Lang votes aye.
Lang votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Thomasoni votes aye.
Thomasoni votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Chamberlain votes aye.
Chamberlain votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Pratt votes aye.
Pratt votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Rarick votes aye.
Rarick votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Senjum votes aye.
Senjum votes aye. Calling Senator Hurd to report members voting under Rule 40.7. Senator Hurd.
Mr. President, I report aye for Senator Eaton.
Eaton votes aye. Senator Hurd.
Aye for Senator Eakin.
Eakin votes aye. Senator Hurd.
Aye for Senator Friends.
Friends votes aye. Senator Hurd.
Aye for Senator Newton.
Newton votes aye. Senator Hurd.
Aye for Senator Torres Ray.
Torres Ray votes aye.
Thank you,
Hurd.
Mr. President.
All members having voted with the desire to vote, the Secretary will close the roll. There being 66 ayes and no nays, House File 961 does pass and is title agreed to. Next bill on special orders today, Senate File 3071, number 47 on general orders. Senator Rosen.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate File 3071 establishes a board processing procedure for physicians, physician's assistants, respiratory therapists, and also modifies the length of time a temporary permit is issued to the Board of Nursing is valid. This bill is before you because of the extraordinary lessons we learned from the COVID pandemic. COVID brought to our attention that we need to modernize the process of licensing and expand the availability of temporary permits for qualified providers who are caring for our Minnesotans. A temporary permit would help address the challenge that we faced during our COVID surge. Hospitals were desperate to hire respiratory therapists, for example, and it was difficult to attract national talent because of the licensing process, which was taking months to complete. Professionals were not willing to come to Minnesota without being paid, and they couldn't start working without a license. A temporary permit helps address this challenge. Also, national recruitment of healthcare professionals who plan on staying in Minnesota, like our surgeons, our cardiologists, our ICU nurses, our pediatric oncology nurses, can begin work immediately with a temporary license without unnecessary delays. The bill would create a 90-day temporary permit for 3 categories of healthcare professionals: our physicians, physician's assistants, and a respiratory therapist. And for nurses, it would extend their current 60-day temporary permit to 90 days. Only if they are currently licensed to practice and they are not subject to a pending investigation or disciplinary action in any other state, territory, or Canadian province. A temporary permit issued is non-refundable and shall remain valid until a decision is made on the application for licensure or for 90 days, whichever comes first. The boards maintain the ability to revoke a temporary license, or temporary permit, excuse me. So the Board of Nursing was 60 days, is now going to 90 days. The original bill that was introduced, members, called for a temporary permit of 120 days. But after looking at some research and at different states and what they are at, the average is 90 days. And the Board of Medical Practice was 30 days, and now it's increasing to 90 days. So remember, it's not my intent or desire of this bill to reduce licensing standards or to change licensing requirements, but to facilitate getting individuals through the process in a more timely manner. With that, members, I stand for questions, and I ask for your support.
Discussion and amendments. Senator Klein.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Senator Rosen, for bringing the bill. And this is one of these policies that develops out of our reaction to COVID, which turns out to be fortuitous and not only very important in this current sort of healthcare workforce crisis, as this would expedite and expand our healthcare workforce in a practical way, but also in regular times. It makes sense that somebody with a good license from another state would be able to come in and start working abruptly in this state while their full licensure is being processed. And you know, in the past, that's created all sorts of sort of bureaucratic snafus as people left a job in another state, and then there was this pause before they could get on staff here. And this is just the right thing to do, and appreciate the bill.
Further discussion to Senate File 3071. Seeing none, the Secretary will give the bill its 3rd reading.
Senate File Number 3071, a bill for an act relating to occupational licensing.
3rd reading. Senator Rosen.
Thank you, Mr. President, and thank you, Senator Klein, for your sage advice and your recommendation on this very important bill. There was many meetings with the Board of Nursing and the Board of Medical Practice, and we all came to agreement. I would like to personally thank Ms. Ruth Martinez from the Board of Medical Practice and Ms. Kimberly Miller from the Board of Nursing for their work on this bill. As I said, the bill that was introduced was much larger in scope, but I think we've landed on a very pragmatic approach to making sure that we're well prepared for any other issues that we have coming towards us in the future. So again, members, I ask for your support.
Secretary will take the roll in final passage of Senate File 3071. call on Senator Jasinski to report members voting under Rule 40.7. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Anderson votes aye.
Anderson votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Johnson votes aye.
Johnson votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Lang votes aye.
Lang votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Thomasoni votes aye.
Thomasoni votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Chamberlain votes aye.
Chamberlain votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Pratt votes aye.
Pratt votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Rarick votes aye.
Rarick votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Senjum votes aye.
Senjum votes aye. Call on Senator Hur to report members voting under Rule 40.7. Senator Hur.
Mr. President, I report aye for Senator Eaton.
Eaton votes aye. Senator Hur.
Aye for Senator Eakin.
Eakin votes aye. Senator Hur.
Aye for Senator Friends.
Friends votes aye. Senator Hur.
Aye for Senator Lopez Frenson.
Lopez Franson votes aye. Senator Hur.
Aye for Senator Newton.
Newton votes aye. Senator Hur.
Aye for Senator Kunish.
Kunish votes aye. Senator Hur.
That's all. Thank you.
Senator Hur, your vote too.
Yep.
All members having voted with the desire to vote, the Secretary will close the roll. There being 65 ayes and no nays, Senate File 3071 does pass and is title agreed to. Next bill on the agenda is Senate File 4108, number 36 on general order. Senator Dames.
Well, thank you, Mr. President and members. Senate File 41 is a bill that deals with the annuities and some clarification on the annuity production. Senate File 41 enhances the consumer protections for annuity purchasers by incorporating the NAIC's best interest standard revisions into Minnesota law. In 2013, some of you who are here will still remember how Minnesota enacted some of the strongest annuity sales protections in the country. Senate File 41-8 retains those protections, especially in the provisions specifically geared to protecting seniors while increasing transparency and accountability in annuity sales. This bill is supported by the insurers, the insurance agents, and the Department of Commerce. This bill deals with and provides regulations in the following area. It provides regulation and guidance in the compensation for the agents. It provides some instructions on consumer information and protection thereof. It talks about conflict of interest. It also talks about the non-guaranteed elements that the producers are required to make sure they thoroughly discuss with their potential clients so that the clients know what they're getting and what the guarantees are and what they aren't. It also talks about the obligations of both the producer and the insurer in the insurance company. It talks about the documentation of the process for selling the annuity. It talks about transaction recommendations and how the recommendations made by the producer needs to meet certain criteria. It also talks about the insurer, the insurance company's duties. It talks about prohibited practices, and it also talks about the obligations for the insurer to do producer training. With that said, Mr. President, that pretty much states what's in the bill, and I do have the A2 amendment.
Senator Dames moves the A2 amendment. The Secretary will report the amendment.
Senator Dames moves to amend Senate File 4108 as follows, page 8, line 12, delete. This is the A2 amendment.
To the A2 amendment, Senator Dames.
Thank you, Mr. President. The A2 amendment changes some dates. It's a technical amendment changing dates, and then there's a few places some verbiage was changed, so it's technical in nature.
Discussion to the A2 amendment. Seeing none, all those in favor of the A2 amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The motion does prevail. The amendment is adopted. Further discussion to Senate File 4108 as amended. Senator Dames? Further discussion. Secretary will give the bill its third reading.
Senate File number 4108, a bill for an act relating to commerce modifying regulation of annuity suitability.
Third reading. Senator Kent.
Thank you, Mr. President. Excuse me, and thank you, Senator Dames, for bringing this bill forward. I just want to say that this is a representation of best practices for annuity sales and will help with transparency and accountability. 21 other states have adopted this model, and I know the Department of Commerce testified that they believe that this maintains Minnesota's ability to protect seniors while aligning our law with these other states that have adopted it. So, members, I would encourage a green vote.
Seeing no further discussion, the Secretary will take the roll on Senate File 4108 as amended. Call on Senator Herr to report members voting under Rule 40.7. Senator Herr.
Mr. President, I report aye for Senator Eaton.
Eaton votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Eakin.
Eakin votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Frantz.
Frantz votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Lopez Franson.
Lopez Franson votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Newton.
Newton votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Torres Ray.
Torres Ray votes aye.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Call on Senator Jasinski to report members voting under Rule 40.7. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Anderson votes aye.
Anderson votes aye. Senator Herr. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Lang votes aye.
Lang votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Thomasoni votes aye.
Thomasoni votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Chamberlain votes aye.
Chamberlain votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Pratt votes aye.
Pratt votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Rarick votes aye.
Rarick votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Senjum votes aye.
Senjum votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Johnson votes aye.
Johnson votes aye. All members having voted with the desire to vote, the Secretary will close the roll. There being 66 ayes and no nays, Senate File 4108 as amended does pass and is title agreed to. Final bill on today's special orders, Senate File 4191, number 49 on general orders. Senator Dames.
Well, thank you, Mr. President and members. Senate File 4191 is a bill that updates the Motor Vehicle Franchise Protection Statute. Currently in the statute, it reads that the information or the statute does not pertain to certain vehicles. It does not pertain to the vehicles that use certain types of fuels. And so with the electric vehicles coming out, this bill was necessary in order to make sure that the manufacturers and the franchises are in agreement on how the sales of those vehicles would be handled. So with that said, Mr. President, I do have the A1 amendment. The A1 amendment changes that language so that it removes alternative fuels and adds that it includes alternative fuels.
Senator Dames moves the A1 amendment. The Secretary will report the amendment.
Senator Dames moves to amend Senate File Number 4191 as follows. Delete everything. This is the A1 amendment.
To the A1 amendment, Senator Dames.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. And with the A1 amendment, changing that language that struck alternative fuels makes it eligible for the franchises to receive electrical vehicles from the manufacturers in the lines in which they represent the manufacturer. This bill also gives an opportunity for the manufacturers to require that the dealers are required to update their dealerships in order to manage the sale of the electrical vehicles within reason. So with that said, Mr. President, I'll stand for questions.
Discussion to the A1 amendment. Seeing none, all those in favor of the A1 amendment signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion does prevail. The amendment is adopted. Further discussion to Senate File 4191 as amended. Seeing none, the Secretary will give the bill its third reading.
Senate File Number 4191, a bill for an act relating to commerce.
Third reading. Any further discussion? Senator Kent.
Thank you, Mr. President. When we heard this bill in the Commerce Committee, I know Senator Dames was working on reaching agreements, and with this amendment, I believe we have met that goal. And so, members, this is a bill that will move us in a pretty good direction. Thank you.
The Secretary will take the roll on final passage of Senate File 4191 as amended. I call on Senator Jasinski to report members voting on Rule 40.7. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Anderson votes aye.
Anderson votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Johnson votes aye.
Johnson votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Lang votes aye.
Lang votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Tomasoni votes aye.
Tomasoni votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Chamberlain votes aye.
Chamberlain votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Pratt votes aye.
Pratt votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Senator Rarick votes aye.
Rarick votes aye. Senator Jasinski.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senator Senjum votes aye.
Senjum votes aye. Senjum. Call on Senator Herr to report members voting under Rule 40.7. Senator Herr.
Mr. President, I report aye for Senator Eaton.
Eaton votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Eakin.
Eakin votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Frantz.
Frantz votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Lopez Franson.
Lopez Franson votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Newton.
Newton votes aye. Senator Herr.
Aye for Senator Torres Ray.
Torres Ray votes aye.
And aye for Senator Fateh.
Fateh votes aye. All members having voted with the desire to vote, the secretary will close the roll. There being 64 ayes and 1 nay, Senate File 4191 as amended does pass and is title agreed to. Moving to the 13th order of business, announcements. Without objection, the following senators will be excused from today's session. Senator Wickland all day. Senator Lopez Franzen from 12:50 to 1:05 p.m. Senator Latz from 12:50 to 1:05 p.m. Any announcements? Senator Miller.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members, I move that the Senate do now adjourn until Tuesday, May 17th at 11 a.m.
On that motion, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? The motion does prevail. Senate is in recess. I'm sorry, Senate is adjourned.